little more. Getting better.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and the a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Jerry?
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time we have to come together, Lord. We just ask that as we conduct the business of the county, that you would just watch over us, God, give us the minds and the hearts to do what's right for our citizens. We ask you, God, to be with those people who serve us in the military, law enforcement, and emergency services, God, that you would just put your hand around each one of them and keep them safe. Be with our nation, Lord. Just bless it, our leaders, our state. Be with our commissioners, God. Just take care of each one of them and their families as they serve this county. Just ask that you would lead, guide, direct us in all we say and do, and forgive us of our sins. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay, public comments. Any public comments? Okay, moving on. Treasurer's report.
I don't have any questions, Mr. Chairman.
No, sir.
Nope. No, sir.
Okay, moving on. Revenue report, January 2020.
Morning, Jessica.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the first item is the January 2020 revenue report. The county has collected $1.4 million of the gross receipts, bringing the total to $11.7 million. The county is currently over the budgeted amount of 3.6, nearly 3.7 million for oil and gas production. The county has collected 2.6, nearly 2.7 million. We are over the budgeted amount of 8.8 million. The total oil and gas receipts is 21 million, 21.5 million. At this point, the county is currently over the budgeted amount of the oil and gas production and equipment, 8.8 million. Are there any questions?
Questions?
I don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
No, sir.
No questions.
John?
I have no question, thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the January 2020 revenue report as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Wood,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
McCutcheon,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Okay. Budget for, the revenue report, the February 2020 revenue report.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, for the month of February 2020, the gross receipts collected for February was 1.7, nearly 1.8 million. The total for the month was 13.5 million. We're over the budgeted amount, 4.3 million. For the oil and gas, we've collected for the month of February 2.9 million, giving us a total of 24.4 million. We're over the budgeted amount by 10.2, nearly 10.3 million. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Question? No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve February 2020 revenue report.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Wood,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
McCutcheon,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Okay, budget versus actual January 2020.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the budget versus actuals for January shows where the county stands in revenue expenses based on what was budgeted and what has been collected or dispersed as of January 2020. The budgeted amount is $108.7 million. We've collected over $100.7 million. This gives us the 92.64%. The budgeted amount of $127 million. We've expensed $61.7 million, which is 48.5%. Currently, we should be at 58%. On the general fund, the revenue is at 87%, and the expenses are at 62.87%. Going down to the road fund, our revenue is 98.76%, and expensed, we're sitting at 29.94%. Do you have any questions?
Questions?
You're probably dying to go over your number. I don't know how we're aligning with that, but
Well, we're at almost 25 million. My number's 30.
oh, geez, we're at about a $600,000 a month surplus, so we're getting close.
We're going to be way over.
Okay.
Just wanted you to realize that.
Yeah, you pointed out regularly.
Commissioner John.
Okay, we're gonna-
I didn't argue with you.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the budget versus actual for January 2020.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Wood,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Hutchins,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jessica.
Okay. Approve safety care net pool certification of public funds for year-end 2019-2020 third quarter. Veronica Harris.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Veronica.
Well, it is that time for the third quarter safety net care pool fund that we're required, so I'm needing approval on that. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
No, sir.
I don't have a choice.
Okay. No questions. Can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the safety care net pool certification of public funds for fiscal year 2019-2020 in third quarter.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Wood,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
McCutcheon,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Okay. Approve, disapprove, one indigent burial. Veronica.
I'm needing approval for one indigent burial with West Funeral Homes. This time.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve one indigent burial with the payment going to West Funeral Home.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Wood,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
McCutcheon,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
you.
Veronica.
Thank you.
Reclass of 2 deputy sheriff's position to 1 patrol sergeant and 1 detective sergeant, Sheriff Mark Cage.
Good morning.
You look a little different. You look a little different.
This is an improvement, huh? Thank you. Should be a shorter meeting, too. All in favor?
We're glad you said that.
I can get away with it sometimes. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners and Mr. Manager. Before I start, I'd like to thank you for helping us so much. And if y'all don't realize the impact he's had with us, it's enormous. Every time we need something, we get it. But right now, I'm asking on behalf of the sheriff that 2 deputies be moved to sergeant. It'll be a 5% pay difference for those 2 positions. But we're having overtime issues, having supervision out there all the time. We created the Violent Crime Suppression Unit, which, if you've been watching, they were instrumental in just solving the recent murder we have. We've got another murder that we will be bringing before the district attorney, and this is going to be a big one. So we're doing a lot of work, and we just need the supervisors out there. So even though it's a 5% request, the overtime that it'll eliminate will offset it. So the sheriff and I believe it's a benefit to the county and to the department.
Okay. Questions?
No, I just want to thank you for everything you're doing. It's amazing to see what a great operation you guys have going on out there. And every day there's something on Facebook about stuff you guys are doing, and it's just amazing for the county. It makes us very proud.
Thank you. I'm very proud of them too. They do a great job.
I likewise appreciate everything. You guys are doing a good job.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. No, just keep it up.
You guys put your lives on the line every day for us, and I, for one, really appreciate that. So, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the reclassification of 2 deputy sheriff's position to 1 patrol sergeant and 1 detective sergeant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Wood,
Yes.
Crockett.
Yes.
Hutchins.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron.
Request to provide money to Carlsbad Department of Development, Alan Davis.
So, it was asked if we could provide some support funds to help CDOD with they're doing a couple of studies and some data collection that will help assist the county. One is a traffic study. Initially, I was thinking the study was going to be just City of Carlsbad, but after talking with the CDOD, it's a broader study. So I gave him some points of interest for the county that we'd really like to, some intersections on what we really like to have some information. It would supplement some of the data that Jason's collecting. They're also asked Commissioner Crockett if she could help as part of the executive board direct them in collecting or compiling some statistics that would be very beneficial for the county to have at hand. I saw some examples when I visited with the Lee County manager and the Lee County Development executive director. It was just great information about their county and some of the cities, and I thought that would be really handy to have when we talk to legislators, when we talk to the state, when we talk to NMDOT, just a really good reference. And it had employers, number of jobs, and just a variety of things. There were 4 or 5 pages, and so I shared that with them, and they said they would work on compiling that. So this money would help support some of those efforts.
And in talking with our county manager, I told him that I could take the money out of my contingency fund, since we never use our contingency fund monies much, so I would be happy to do that, since that money's already budgeted and in there.
Okay.
And that was my question, I guess, on the contingency money. How does this thing work? Because it does say it's already budgeted, but
We're
I just
in
need
the
a little-
budget, each of us have X amount of contingency fund. Like the monies for the little things that we took to Santa Fe, that came out of our contingency fund. So you can ask the commission to use your contingency for stuff that you might want. I think we have like 45,000 in our contingency.
Each commissioner, or?
Mhm.
Oh,
And it's a budgeted line item that we approve every year in the budget.
So if there are projects or focuses that a particular commissioner has, that's an opportunity for them to help support some of those efforts through that particular resource that shows up in that we budget for year on year.
okay.
Question, Larry? John?
I guess I have a couple questions. For the road study, isn't that in the road task force? Did we have any studying done with that? I mean, that was over a year-long project.
The city of Carlsbad gave them a little bit of money for that, and this would be to offset that because the project still isn't complete. The project came in at more than they had initially budgeted for, so it would be to help offset those costs. And we added a few things to what the city was requesting to go out into the county area, so it basically helped fund those costs as well.
Well, and then with PSA, how much do we give them with the PSA? 'Cause I know, wasn't there
85,000.
85,000? So what does that go to pay for? Wouldn't that
goes-
offset some things?
That goes to help with their daily costs of providing, going to Santa Fe to lobby for J-tip funds and going to help whenever we request them, bringing in like the gas companies and their day-to-day economic development priorities. It doesn't really go to any projects per se.
Okay.
It's the administration and running the
Yeah.
CDOD, along with what City of Carlsbad contributes.
Because I would assume y'all have the same kind of economic problem we do, in the sense of we don't have to do anything. They're showing up. I mean, it's a good problem to have, oils here. I think they figured that out, it seems like, a couple companies.
We don't have that problem per se because we don't have the staffing, and then we have a lot of issues with businesses coming here because there's no land. So, let's just say, for instance, Hobby Lobby, got really excited because they thought they had a property, and then that property decided not to sell. So now we have them sitting out here. So we have to keep dangling that carrot. Or let's say Texas Roadhouse, they wanted to come here, but they want to be specifically by like Chili's or on Pierce Street. So instead they decided to go to Hobbs because they have a lot of land on their main streets. So we have to actually go out and seek those. It's a little bit more hard. They don't necessarily just come flocking to us.
Well, and I think that was kind of what I'm saying with Artesia. I mean, the big companies are just showing up. We're not having to do much work to get them here. And I understand the little, I call them little Texas Roadhouse, the restaurants. It's a little more difficult, but then it becomes land is probably an issue, but there's no staffing for those. So what's the point in going and bringing in a business like that? So does this study, is this going to help us try to find housing or anything else that's going to actually bring in
This study's more geared
people?
toward housing because that's the big initiative that we, as a commission and the city, gave the Department of Development this last year, was to help with housing and the housing study and this road study. And then they're also working with an employment study and helping, on the healthcare side of that as well. And is there something we can do to bring down costs of healthcare for large companies, and then the smaller companies, can we pool together? So there's a lot of pieces that they work on that are intertwined.
Okay. I think I have more questions, but I don't know. I know, didn't we try to raise this, or there was a request to raise this during the budget?
Yeah.
And so it kind of feels like this is one of those, raise it later. I don't know. I
don't know. This is just a one-time monies to help them with their costs. And then Alan, I gave him a pretty big project to work on with as far as some brochures and stuff, and pretty much a big time constraint on them to get this information together.
Yeah.
And that was requested by Al. He asked me to take that to their executive board because he liked what Lee County's Department of Development had worked up.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we take $10,000 out of my contingency to help the Carlsbad Department of Development in their work and efforts towards Eddy County activities that the county's requested.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Wood,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Hutchin,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Henry.
No.
Okay. Resolution and agreement consent agenda. Anything that anybody would like to have pulled out?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
No, sir.
Okay. We don't have anything. I'd get a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution and consent agenda.
Do I have okay. We have a motion and a second. Call the vote.
Wood, Crockett,
Yes.
Hutchin,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Okay. Department updates.
Morning.
Morning.
just kind of wanted to give you all an update over the last crazy year of this new position. It's been really good and productive. The EAB in January and February finished a strategic plan. Took us a few months to kind of get our feet under us and figure out what we wanted to do. At the beginning, it was very closely formed after Garfield County's EAB, but after a few months, we kind of determined we wanted to be a little more productive and active, and so we put together a strategic plan. Our 3 areas of focus are, for this year, are code enforcement, housing, and roads and infrastructure. We've got our committee leads, and we'll be having our first committee meeting tomorrow. And we're going to be going over the 2017 Eddy County Comprehensive Plan, because housing and roads and infrastructure are included in that plan. So we're going to go over that plan to see, if there's anything that's been accomplished, or if there's anything that we can look at and move forward on. Also, we're going to be looking at the 2015 Eddy County Affordable Housing Plan. There's a lot of interesting information. I've been reading that little pieces at a time. But there's a lot of good information in there, so we're going to be focusing on that. There's been consistent articles in the news media over the last year, local and otherwise, regarding the EAB. I get a lot of calls setting up appointments with, the recent one was with Wes regarding the legislative session. I get a lot of calls to set up interviews with finance, facilities, public works and roads, and fire services. So there's been a lot of media coverage regarding that. I'm continuing to send out press releases and public notices as needed. Jason's been really good getting information to me about roads that are being worked on, detours and all of that, getting that out to the public. I occasionally get calls from radio stations asking for short little 30-second blips that they can share on the air. Our Facebook page has seen an increase in community engagement, and I want to thank Carol. She helps me when we send those press releases and public notices out. She gets those out on Facebook and gets them on our website as well. The county and city of Carlsbad, we've been getting consistent, and thanks to Commissioner Crockett, because she was part of this, we're getting consistent updates now from NMOCD regarding the brine well, and we're getting that information out to the public about every 2 weeks when they give those updates to us. And right now I'm working with Roxanne on a promotion for the Eddy County Job Fair that is scheduled for, I believe, 2 weeks from tomorrow. And so I'm going to be working with her on getting some employee highlights and pictures and why people love working for the county, and getting that shared on social media. So that's my update. Does anybody have any questions or?
I don't. Thank you for the update, though. That's really informative.
I don't. Thank you. No, sir.
I don't have anything, thank you.
I have a quick question, because when you said code enforcement, I know that got some folks excited in my district, and not in a good way for me. What is that y'all are trying to tackle?
Well, there's, I've kind of had to look at different areas, but right now, litter and illegal dumping is probably going to be a big one. On my code enforcement committee, we have Brian Lipscomb, who's one of my board members from Marathon, and they've already talked to me about wanting to adopt a county road and getting out there, just boots on the ground, getting some trash picked up, getting some litter picked up, having the community get involved in that, getting some buy-in from the community. I mean, this is our county, and we want people to be proud of it. So that's kind of the area that we're looking at right now. It's just more boots on the ground stuff, litter and illegal dumping.
Because they were afraid y'all aren't looking at new ordinances or.
We are not looking at new ordinances. We are looking at current ordinances. But of course, we know if that's anything that we move forward, we need to bring that before the commission. And so we're just looking at some wording and things in our current ordinances. So not anything new. Not anything.
So the big focus is mainly cleaning
right now, yes, sir.
Making sure that the ordinances that we have sufficient resources to enforce the codes, and that there's an awareness and an understanding what the codes are, so that people can comply or be made aware of need to comply, and then following through to make sure that those happen. So initially there were some, with the increase in the number of RV spaces that popped up around the county, that what was going on with the wastewater there, and so we've been working through that since the beginning of the year, and so I think that's starting to come in line. So that's really what it revolves around, is the ordinances we have and making sure that they help the county, the appearance of the county, be what we want it to be.
Yeah. No, and that's what I figured. I just wanted you to say that so people would understand where we were headed, so thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Yes, Jerry and I had a long conversation yesterday about the illegal dumping of tires and the problems that are creating that problem is the paperwork and the cost of people taking the tires to the dump, and some of the things that we could do about that. We kind of talked about that, and then we also talked about the waste being dumped out in some of the trailer parks that we're seeing, and the enforcement of those things. And so I thought we had a very good conversation yesterday about those things. You know, because a lot of those tires that are being dumped in my district, and so it's a special deal to me.
Mr. Chairman, I did have one more thing. I spoke to some of the folks over at Lee County, and I believe last time in my commissioner comments we spoke a little bit about picking up a lot of the extra trash around. It's come to my attention they've purchased a baler, like a trash baler for the side of the road, and I don't know if we could do an MOU or something with them to come over and run that as well on our stuff, but that may be something that we could look at. They've got the piece of equipment purchased, so I don't know if there's something that we can do there, and they can run them down the sides of the road. Maybe
I've spoken with Jason and Commissioner Chairman Carlson, and I spoke briefly about that yesterday. I know that we're looking to see how it works for them, to see if it works well, and then we've also talked about possibly looking at some grants to purchase something like that. So that's definitely on the radar, seeing how well that works for them. So
no telling what you can pick up.
yeah.
That
Yes.
is one of the things that we're planning on looking at Con Expo, because
okay.
all the equipment and stuff, they bring all the innovative things just like those things. Another thing is, some of the other equipment stuff that we can utilize to better our roads and beautification and stuff. So that's some of the things that we talked about yesterday.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Can I?
Nope, nothing.
Okay.
So just on the agenda, we've labeled this department update, so that includes all departments, whether led by an elected official or director. So just this is your moment if you want to talk with the commission and be able to ask and answer questions. So
Anybody else?
I just wanted to let the commissioners know. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This morning. I just wanted to let the commissioners know that we're going to do a job fair just for Eddy County. We're going to do it on the 18th. We're getting finalized. We're going to run our, instead of doing it for 2 weeks, we're going to do it for 2 weeks and 1 day. So we'll have the same jobs posted instead of having some confusion. And we will do it up here on the 3rd floor. We're going to put it in the paper, and we're going to put it on the radio. And like Jerry had mentioned, she's got some of those ads that she could get for us for free that we can run and try to blitz it, and then we'll do it up here on the 3rd floor. We've invited all the departments to come and participate, be there, and then we can, those that want to apply for our detention positions, we can we can't hire them on the spot, but we can expedite the fingerprinting and some of the other things that we can do. We can help them apply for those positions online. We can get all the documentation, maybe make it go a little bit faster in those areas. But I wanted you to know about it. I need your word of mouth. I need you to let people know that we're going to be having Eddy County's own job fair here on the 18th. Other than that, we're being HR, working.
The only thing that I would question is the location. I think the idea is great,
Here,
but
right.
it's harder to get in and out of here, and I was just wondering if there was a better location, if we're going to have a job fair, if there was a better location that people could get in and out of, and, you know, it's a lot more accessible than the county offices.
We could look into it, but we're getting ready to hit the papers and the things. I can look maybe over at the Carousel House. I don't know, but I can check into that this afternoon because I was getting ready to run this afternoon.
Check with Robert and see if he's got something that he'd let us use for one of the conference rooms over there.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think that would be a better deal because, and you know, one of the things that I do know is driving in from Otis every day and driving out in the evenings, the traffic is picked way up again. I mean, there is line after line after line of trucks going out in the morning and cars coming in the evening. So you know, I think that some of the employment problems are going to come back.
We're also going to start at 7 a.m. so we can get those people before they're going to work, and we'll go to like 6 or 7 in the evening so that those people that are working can come and we'll be available to help them. So it'll be early in the morning till about 6 or 7 in the evening.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roxanne.
I'm sorry, I was mean.
I wouldn't apologize, Roxanne.
Just go with it.
He probably deserves you hitting him.
Yeah.
He was going to go to my day job.
Yeah.
There's a box up there for that.
One with your name on it.
There is. Morning. Chairman, Commissioners, quick update on our road tracker. In the north, we've added 5 concerns. We've completed 1. In the south, we've added 11 and completed 3. The south, we are seeing a substantial amount more. We are concentrating on our current road maintenance projects, and then we'll be right back on those. In the north, they're finishing up CR 27, which is Pickett Road. We're blading and hauling material to that one, as well as hauling coal mix to the yard in Artesia so that we can continue potholing. In the south, they're concentrating on London Road. We have that one completely milled and or reclaimed and hauling millings to it, and are looking at beginning Crossco here within the next week or so. As far as the road projects we have going on, we have North 26, which we're getting ready to go to construction on that one. We just issued a PO for Hilltop yesterday for a substantial amount to go in there and pave a good section of that one and then reclaim the rest of it, potentially chip sealing it. We have a contractor looking at our intersection at Black River Village and pulling that one down. We'll be bringing that one and hopefully getting it underway soon. We're also evaluating Duarte right now, putting a section of that one going from the highway to McDonald Road, and we'll have that one out and awarded by the end of the year and hopefully expended through the fiscal year. We also have a contractor working on Old Loco. We had some erosion control problems there that we're going to go remediate and repair, and then potentially going to put another layer of chip seal on that one with some of the issues we've seen with the heavy rains last year. And we also just completed some erosion control problems on Twin Wells, and we'll be extending that one with chip seal.
Do you want to give a brief summary about the amount budgeted for this fiscal year and the amount expended and your intention to line them up?
This year we had a budget of approximately 3.1 for maintenance money, which is where most of this is coming out of. We also had 1.3 budgeted for our capital improvement construction monies that are going to, I'm going to bring to you at the next meeting to reallocate from Black River Village to Duarte, which that should fully encompass all of that funding. With the maintenance money, we've seen that just our road crews working, we were not expending our money fast enough. So that's where the Hilltop, the Old Loco, the Twin Wells, and a lot of these other projects with London and Carrasco, we're doing several things with buying materials for our crews to go do it, as well as awarding third parties to go out and complete some of the maintenance that we're seeing, and we'll have that line item fully expended by the end of the fiscal year. So.
Great. Questions?
I don't have any.
You say you're gonna chip seal Twin Wells, is that around about Jackson?
Yes, that's, we still have some donation money left over from Oxy, that we ran out of season to chip seal last year. So we're gonna extend that one and prep it and chip seal up to Buck Jackson as part of our alternate routes projects and, with donation money.
Okay. Are you, there's a ton of activity out there. I know that you and we've spoken about entrances on and off of county roads. Have you got provisions in there for that to talk to the operators out there? Because that road with so much on and off of there is gonna just really deteriorate quickly.
So the other thing I have not presented to the commission, which we'll plan on doing it within the next meeting or two, is we have been revising our permitting policy that we currently have for our county right-of-way accesses for pipelines, utilities, and in addition to that, with our accessing our right-of-way through driveways, we have a process that we're going to allow commercial vendors to access our right-of-way, that when they apply for it, we're going to give them a set of standards that they adhere to, and we're going to kind of dumb down the NMDOT process. NMDOT right now currently requires a full traffic study for accesses on and off of NMDOT right-of-way. We're not going to require a full traffic study, but we are going to require anticipated traffic in and out of any commercial driveway onto our right-of-way, and require certain provisions to reinforce our road that, if they're going to see 1,000 heavy truck traffic a day, we're going to require them to pave a certain section of that so it doesn't tear up our chip seal roads or whatever part of the roads that we're having. Because if you'll see where a lot of our holes and a lot of our potholes are occurring is at these entrances where these trucks are continually turning continuously every day. So we're going to try to eliminate that or improve that. So,
since you and I have talked about that, I've been really trying to keep my eye on that as I'm out and about. It looks like we may have to do something on both sides of the road, because those trucks swing out and then they come off the other side. So that road right there may be paved.
What I'm wanting to do now, what you're probably going to see in the permitting requirements for the standards, is a certain length on every side. If it's a chip seal road, we're going to require them to pave it for a certain length on either side of their entrance, especially with heavy commercial traffic. Now, residents, we're not going to require anything for residents. Light traffic, you'll see, do not tear up our roads. They're hardly a factor on our roads. But it's when you start seeing the heavy traffic that you'll start seeing your roads deteriorate at an exponential rate.
Yeah, I think something that's in front of a house is way different than something that's in front of where they're fracking a well or something, and there's going to be 1,000, 1,500 trucks in and out of a day for months. So, no, sir, I'm done.
When you start the 26th Street project, are you going to close the whole road down, or how's that going to work on that one?
So this is always one of those balancing deals that if we close the road down completely, we can be in and out within 4 to 6 weeks. If we try to make it to where people could still pass and have a pilot car and adequate traffic control, that extends to 12 to 16 weeks because of just traffic. I'm not near as worried or scared of the traffic north of Artesia as I am south of Carlsbad, because they actually do have a little bit of respect, and you're not seeing as many of the oil field heavy truck traffic, so it'll just run your people over if they're not paying attention. with that, I would recommend that we close 26th so we can get in there, get it reclaimed, and get out of there as quickly as we can and be as less of an impact as possible.
Yeah, you have alternate routes that you can use, 13.
Detours, yes, sir. And we could set
That
those
would
up.
be, I think the ideal thing is to close it down and do it and be out of there.
That's, I would,
You might have something different, but
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, might as well, everything else in Artesia's closed. Can't go down to Mosul. Can't go down 82. I mean, whatever.
we're accustomed to streets getting closed down. So.
Yeah, so make sure your alternate route isn't closed because
sir.
there's a chance it is.
detour into another detour.
Yeah, yeah.
13th Street was an ongoing project for, 3 years?
Yeah.
They closed sections of it, you'd have to make.
Sure. And we are still meeting, I've got a meeting scheduled with the city of Artesia to go consider partnering on that one and taking it farther in. So,
The only thing that's an issue is you have that one subdivision that you'd have to figure out, but.
I mean, we always, and when we do close it to traffic, we still allow access to residents and make sure we get them in and out of there, but we'll close it to through traffic and usually end up, so if it's right there on the highway, we'll close it off the highway and they have to go around and then come in. So we won't bar access, but.
Commissioner?
No, thanks. It'd be great. I drove down 26 this weekend and it's worse than I thought. So glad y'all are doing it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Josh.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Just a couple of things. Motorola is getting ready today to release their kickoff date for the maintenance on the towers. So we should have that rolling I'm hoping within the next month. 2 to 3 days at each site. We'll be working with the Sheriff's Office, APD, CFD, AFD, CPD, just to let them know what channels will be maintenance which days. I want to thank you all for approving our agreement with Varsity Sports. That lady reached out to us, and they reach out and find companies to make donations for these shirts. They're t-shirts that we can hand out for recruitment, and we can also hand out to the current members as a retention item. So it'll have all the sponsors on the shirts, so you guys should see those at 4th of July events and at the fair is our plan to get those out. So everything else is going pretty good. We are still actively working on the communication system to come up with a good plan. Motorola called the other day and offered a pretty good solution, so we'll see how that goes. The county manager and I are working closely on that project. So. Any questions, concerns?
I don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
Any question? No, sir.
I don't have it.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks,
Josh.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Any other departments? Okay, moving on. Travel request agenda, consent agenda. Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, should I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve travel request consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote?
Wood,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Hutchins,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, emergency business. Any emergency business?
We don't have any emergency business at this time.
Okay, no emergency business. Legislative update.
Morning, Jerry.
Good morning. How's everybody today? Excited about the rain coming, I know. I have a few things I want to pass out this morning. I'll just pass those around. Appreciate it. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. It's always hard to keep politics and legislative issues short and sweet. What you're looking at there in front of you, I tried to condense some information for all of you to look at. You can see there on the first page, it's captioned bills that pass the legislature that will impact or potentially impact Eddy County. Tried to break some of these out. It was an interesting session. Of course, all sessions are interesting, but 30-day session, I always like to say, is too short. They try to cram too much in it. 60-day session's too long. They try to cram everything into it. We had a good session. I think for overall what we had, of course, we can talk about budgets and how the surplus was there, but I guess the thing that I would add before we get too far into this is that the thing that was encouraging to me of not being there for a while and going back was the fact that Eddy County was well represented. We were in all corners of the roundhouse. Didn't know roundhouse had corners. That was a joke. But anyway, just seeing if you guys were paying attention. Yeah, we were in all corners of the roundhouse, working all a various gambit of issues. But as you look down this list, I think one of the things that I kind of want to point out is you'll see a couple, 3 items that have asterisks by them, and I kind of threw those in whether they were important or not to us as a county, but those are bills that have been signed by the governor. And if you look at those are priorities that she had coming into the session, and so she tried to get those signed as quickly as possible. But I know the one that's near and dear to our heart is HB 117 and also is SB 119, the lodger's tax. We were successful, and I think we should be very proud of that. The city worked very hard. John Heaton and Wendy and I put a lot of shoe leather in on these things. We got a lot of bipartisan support. If you'd like to go online and look at the votes were encouraging. One of the things that we ran into right off was the first committee, and that we had some opposition, which are folks who oppose everything, and I'll just put that in, but we were able to, some of the representatives that were there had great concerns that we were impacting probably some of the folks that had of lower income, which in fact we weren't. But at the same time, they asked us as the experts and people representing the lodger's tax to work with these folks, and we did. We spent a couple hours working with the New Mexico law and poverty folks on trying to come up with some language to help them be comfortable. We spent a couple hours with those folks. They came back to us. They had paragraphs of suggestions to amend the bill with, which we did not agree to. And so as I asked those two folks, and Wendy and I got off in a corner committee room, spent another hour with them, and we took those several paragraphs and condensed it down to one sentence. So we felt like we made good progress. And the encouraging thing about that was, to me, as we went through the committee process, was those folks stood up in support of our legislation, which gave us the appearance that we were open to their ideas, and we were able to work together with them, and it just presented a great appearance of unity, which it was, and being able to work together. And we got a lot of real positive comments from legislators on both sides of the aisle in us doing that. So the lodger's tax is there. Senate Bill 119, we had 2 bills. We had 117, we had 119. On the Senate side, Senator Munoz carried that bill. On the House side, Catherine Brown carried that bill. They both worked very diligently to get those bills there. We both got them. We got them down to the line, and then the decision was made to take the House bill, and Senator Munoz did a great job of that, taking the House bill over to the Senate, getting it across the Senate floor with a fantastic vote. Only had like 2 people vote against it in the Senate, and so now it's waiting the governor's signature, and she promised us back there that she would do that. So enough of that. As you come down and see that, and I want to add right quickly on this list as you look at it, to give you a little update, anything you see on this list, which in essence of time I took in consideration of not presenting this, but any of these bills that you see here that have potential impact to Eddy County, I have a synopsis written up on every one of these. So if you see something there that you're interested in, or you'd like to see the complete synopsis, if you'll just contact me directly, I'll get that to you email. Okay? to let you know that. As you come down to see there, the capital outlay projects, which have not been signed, but the little explanation there, that's $12,943,000 for Eddy County. That's for the cities of Artesia, Hope, Carlsbad, which a big portion of that Carlsbad one is a Bryan Well project, and the city of Loving. So we did get some money there. No, when you look at the bottom line and how much money comes in, that's not much money in the big picture, percentage-wise. And we all know that, but we fought hard to get what we have. The House Bill 364, which is not highlighted there at the bottom, the public sector collective bargaining, that was a bill that New Mexico counties fought really hard on. It was a Bill 110, which had to do the collective bargaining. They put that dummy Bill 364 in to bring it, and it got, for lack of better words, it got amended in as positive a way as we could amend it because the bill was going to go through. So we had to do what we had to do, and the New Mexico counties did a fantastic job of working on that and getting that probably where it's at a controllable level. I'm choosing my words because I think that's where we are, the controllable level. The red flag bill, I know we were very interested in that. It was signed, of course. The governor had priority there. She made sure it got signed. The same thing with New Mexico counties on that. They worked very hard on that bill to try to get it where it was not too intrusive, but at the same time, we have a red flag bill, and it's signed. Other counties have expressed concerns about that bill, and the concerns, I think, are well warranted and justified, but I think the bill is a lot better than what it was. It's still not good. Big things, Department of Transportation there, if you'll see, the marijuana bill, the medical marijuana, that was for patients who can use medical marijuana, that was signed. I guess that was as close to the marijuana bill as the governor could get. The marijuana bill died. It never did see the light of day. And we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute, but that was signed. Department of Transportation expenditures, Eddy County had 5 projects, $1,695,000. As you can see there, the breakdown for the southeast and southwest routes. I can tell you that if you have not done this, I would urge each commissioner to pass on thanks to our representation in southeast New Mexico. Gay Kernan, Senator Fulfer, Ron Griggs, Representative Townsend, Representative Brown, all of those folks worked really hard to get us this money and made commitments to our part of the state. Could it have been more? Most certainly it could have been a lot more, and it should have been a lot more. But at the same time, those folks made huge commitments to us, and I can't say enough for our representation in southeast New Mexico. Those folks work really hard up there for us to get these things done. Any questions on the first page, or this first group? If you look at the next one, it's bills of interest that were killed or stopped in committee. One of the big things was House Memorial 21. This was a transport and storage of radioactive waste. It had to do with moving high-level waste to and from and anywhere, possibly to the Holtec issue. This was a memorial, one house memorial. It never got scheduled. It got all the way to the floor, but it never got scheduled on the floor. I'm going to tell you, there was a lot of work there, and you can see Senate Bill 95, we were kind of working both of those at the same time. But thanks to John Heaton, Wendy Austin, and the Holtec lobbyists that were hired there, they worked very hard, this issue. And it was a dangerous memorial, but the Senate bill in 95, in my estimation, was a lot more dangerous. It was a bill. I laughed. I relayed this story to Al, but the Senate Bill 95, which was the consultation task force, which means you had to study everything to death before you could ever move a lick of radioactive material in anywhere. It whizzed across things pretty quickly, and it got to the floor. And I had basically said, I'm not sure we can stop this because of several issues that were there. And because of the efforts of John and Wendy and the Holtec lobbyists, it got stopped on the floor. I have to relay this story because I thought it was very telling. The lobbyist for Holtec that I know very well, I talked to him on the telephone and I said, Georges, I can't believe what just happened when this thing got killed. And Georges says, quote, I was there and I can't believe it happened. And so I think as we look, and I like to look further into the issue, but I think as we look further into the issue, I think people understand the importance of our industry down here when it comes to disposal of nuclear waste as far as the statewide goes. I think they understand what it does for the economy. I think they understand what it does to put it in a safe place for our nation. And so I like to read into politics, and I think this was a big statement that we saw there, that we did get support across the aisles, and people are listening to us. And people that live here drink the water, breathe the air, and those kind of things. And I think we're gaining a lot of respect. We still have a long ways to go, but I think they're gaining a lot of respect, and they respect the folks that are there on the ground. The other, one of the other favorite ones was Senate Bill 104, prohibiting hydraulic fracturing. That poor lady, I feel sorry for her. She tries to find everything she can to talk bad about oil and gas, and she has nothing to stand on. But it never got out of the first committee.
Is that your friend from Santa Fe, John?
Do what?
I didn't know it was John's friend from Santa Fe you were talking about. Or what?
No, I don't think so.
She was.
But
helpful on that.
But anyway, that one never got out, which was a good thing. The public sector collective bargaining changes, NMC worked hard to amend it. I already talked about it at 110, and it came back as a 364, and it went through, and I think it's pretty, I mean, it's not good, but I think it's a lot better than it was. Of course, the marijuana bill, which was big headlines of one of the governors, one of the big things that she tried to get through, that was a very complicated issue, as we all know. I thought it was very telling that I was very appreciative of New Mexico counties and the presentations they gave on that while we were there. I think it brought to light what other states who have legalized marijuana are experiencing, and I don't think New Mexico's ready for it. And obviously, after much discussion in the legislature, they don't think that we're ready for it. The gas taxes were tried to raise. McQueen tried to raise this gas tax by 30 cents a gallon. It never made it out of appropriations and finance. It's not a good rule. The county road fund donation tax deductions, which in 276, which Catherine presented, this was the tax deductions that we were looking for donations in the county. And to be quite frank about that, we still had a few little issues with that bill when we got there. We listened to the first committee. We came back and amended that bill, made it much better. But because of the bulk of other bills that had more priority, should I say, to other parts of the state, it kind of got slow played a little bit. And by the time we got it to House Tax and Rev, they just didn't have an appetite to get it passed. Okay? They were bringing up all kinds of things. And I equate this sometimes to, we all know the analogy of bring me a rock. Okay, and that's kind of where we were. It's kind of like, bring me a rock, and we want the rock to look like this. And it's like, well, this rock's got a spot on it, so we need another rock. So that's kind of where we were. But the positive thing that I think we look at as we look at this, Catherine also she's always fighting for our roads down here. She's a great person to carry that banner. House Bill 344 on the next page, it's same thing. All of them came stalled out in House appropriations and finance. But I think the positive thing that we have to look at when we look at all these things is that there's always next year, okay? And a lot of these bills, the good bills and the bad bills, they're still there. They didn't get passed. And so these are just, I equate them to seeds in the ground. They're going to grow. Some of them are weeds. Some of them are trees. And so what we've got to do this next year is to kind of take care of our tree seeds and make sure those things that are going to bear fruit for us in the South are getting taken care of, and people have a clear understanding in these interim committees as we work really hard, and as I work hard now back on the ground in these interim committees to get these things carried forward and try to keep the weeds down and make sure they don't come back up. I want to sing a few praises for Wes and for Jason. I can tell you, my eyes were very open. It was a great experience to watch these guys work, especially with Wes. He has a fantastic relationship with the Department of Transportation. It's amazing. It's amazing. Those guys listen to him, they respect him, they work with him, and as I build on that, I want to tell you, New Mexico Department of Transportation knows us, and they're working with us. And I think they have our best interest at hand. They do have big interchange projects going in downtown Albuquerque with a lot of people hollering at them, but at the same time, they're responsive. When we talk to them, they respond to us, and they tell us what we ask and what we need to know, and they're honest with us about what they think they can do. And as we see that board meeting coming up here in a couple of weeks here, I urge everybody to be there, and please go by and shake those guys' hands and tell them how much we appreciate what they're doing for us down here. There are limits. They have limits, and they're doing what they can do. We can do more, but at the same time, they're giving us great advice of how to get things accomplished. So at that, it's probably enough, too much. I'll stand for any questions.
I don't have any. Thank you very much, Jerry.
Appreciate it very much, Jerry. Have you been able to present this information to Artesia and Carlsbad yet?
Carlsbad will be on the 10th.
Okay.
Okay, and I've talked to Ray, and he's happy he got all of his money. I mean, we can, I'll try to set up their council meeting.
Yeah, it just shows that a house divided can't stand, so I feel like we appreciate you working with everybody and bringing everybody
Oh,
together.
yes, I've already talked to Ray, and we'll set up to present to the commission, to the council on the 10th.
Thank you for all your work up
Yeah,
there.
thank you, yeah.
I don't have any questions, thank you.
I have a quick question. I don't know if this is the appropriate place or not, but on that red flag bill, I know that there's already, I think the Sheriff's Association is maybe going to challenge that bill in court. Do we know who else is looking to challenge that, or is this the right time to talk about that? I don't know.
We can. I don't know that any of the counties have specifically indicated that they will challenge it in court. There have been a handful, and I'm trying to get the final number because there was a request around, but there are 5, maybe 6 counties that have passed resolutions opposing the bill, kind of in a roll call from the county managers, and not everyone responded, but some in the affirmative. Yes, we have a resolution we passed this year to oppose. Others were no. The response I provided was that Eddy County passed a resolution in 2018 as a Second Amendment sanctuary, and we still stand on that, and so that was our response. I know that NMC worked hard to get the amendments in the bill that did make it, and with the sheriff as the president of NMC said they would not oppose the bill as amended, and so I didn't. And again, it was just my opinion, so the commission has the opportunity to do as they wish, but I didn't feel that it would be something that the county would do to, with the sheriff supporting his organization and the county having a different stand. But again, that's just my opinion. I think the Second Amendment sanctuary still stands, and that's okay. So if there's a desire to create a resolution from Eddy County in opposition, there are a few examples out there that have come from, I think, Lee County and Chavez County. Lincoln was considering, I don't know if they did.
They did.
We haven't seen Otero. Quay County did. But, so I'm trying to get the final list of those that passed a specific resolution opposing the bill. What does that mean? Does that mean if the county's opposed to the bill or the law, what does that mean in terms of enforcement, right? I know there's some concerns from the Sheriff's Association about how that enforcement would occur, and the governor's made a statement about, sheriffs are in position to uphold the law, This is the law. So I think if the commissioners have that interest and desire, we should talk about what does that mean, and is it a statement? Okay. Is it an action? So we just need to think about what that would imply and what direction that would mean for county officials and county officers.
Yeah. Well, and I think my big question is I think our resolution stands as is. I'm comfortable with that. No, I was just curious because I've seen it and I'm getting asked a lot, who is out there taking this to court? And I don't know that answer. So I was just curious if anyone had heard, if that is being challenged. I had heard the Sheriff's Association was, but that's all hearsay at this point.
So there have been a couple of articles, and the chairman of the New Mexico Sheriff's Association has stated that. Whether they've mustered that into action,
They announced this morning they are.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the Sheriff's Association is taking it to court.
They announced they were.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I want to know.
Not to make light of the red flag rule, but I heard yesterday, and I don't remember if it was in Colorado or Arizona, but one inmate had filed against the sheriff because he felt threatened by the sheriff and his gun, and he was living within the proximity of the sheriff. So that just shows you that, he didn't feel like, he felt threatened by that, and because he was in the jail and he was around him all the time, that they should come take his gun away from him. And this was actually filed. This was filed. So we laugh and we say this is ridiculous, but it does have that potential, okay, to become something of a burden on our law enforcement officers when they probably have other things that need their attention. That's my opinion. That's Jerry's opinion, for whatever it's worth.
That's all I have.
Okay.
A reminder again, if any of you want a synopsis of any of these bills, just let me know. I've got them. The ones that I have listed here. See?
I get to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Chairman. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I thought you were dismissing me. I apologize.
I get updates also from the ACNM, Associated Contractors in New Mexico, and just to supplement what you brought to us, the House Bill 349, which allocates $26,395,900. District 2, which is the district that we're in, we're going to get $6,146,500 of that, and Albuquerque's going to get $12,052,400. So a little disparity there, although we are getting the second best from that, and the overall appropriations for the NMDOT for the state, the whole state, was $1,245,226,300. So doing some of that, and but I thought that some of that was good, and then there was some of the capital outlay and stuff that you went over. So,
but the percentage are still in proportionate.
They're way in proportionate.
And I think that's the thing. But every committee that we were in brought up the Eddy County name when we were talking about issues and how much they appreciate what we're doing for the state. But at the same time, when it came down to the vote, it was quite different, which is discouraging when you're standing there and you're thinking, wow, they hear what you're saying and they're going to give you some consideration. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. You guys, all the money you're bringing to us, all of that. And then it's, then they vote.
Well, hopefully we're going to have a study when we go back up in next year that shows how much each county is contributing to the overall state budget and how much each county is getting as far as funding from the state. So we will get to see that disparity, and we'll have something to really show them and talk about. So, okay, I appreciate it. Now you can go. No, just teasing. Okay, legislators and elected officials.
County Manager.
One of the things that, and Jerry mentioned it, NMDOT, we talked a little bit about it at the last commission meeting. The commitment from Secretary Sandoval of $10 million to Eddy County roads specifically, not state roads. The provision with that is that he would provide up to $10 million if we could match that. So he would, anything we could match, he would give us to go up to $10 million. And so we've been working hard. We came back, we had a meeting with industry, and then we realized that we needed to have some one-on-one discussions and get to the right people. The people that had come to the meeting were some of the local folks, but not necessarily the influential folks. And so Wes and Jerry have been working to try and reach out to those folks. We had a good discussion with XTO, we had a good discussion with Cimarex, we had a discussion with Chevron, and we're setting up appointments with others in industry. We might change that description to private contributions, because one of the things that oil and gas industry is saying is, well, man, every time you need money, you come to us as industry. And that was part of the reason I had the maps built that I did, that showed where industry is relative to agriculture, relative to WIP, relative to the potash. And the impact is a consequence of oil and gas industry. So again, just trying to help provide some clarification and build fluency about the impacts of those activities. Letting them know we absolutely want them here. We're not anti oil and gas development. I think that's a strong reference that what Garfield County was initially set up to do in their energy advisory board, and what there was a lot of anti-development sentiment there, and that's part of what they focused on here. It's not so much the anti-sentiment. There are some residents who don't like the consequences of that development in terms of traffic and resource constraint, things like that. But again, helping build the message about what that activity does on county resources. And if we can't close that gap, be careful what I say in this forum, but an extreme alternative to that is the county vacates those roads and industry has to take care of them, or leave them go as they want. Oh, no, we don't want that. And neither do we. But it helps provide some perspective about what we're trying to address. And as a commission, you're accountable to the citizens of your districts. So we put on the map, here are the citizens of Eddy County. As a resident, it's just a dot. Here's the citizens, here's the industry in the southeast quadrant of the county. You do the math. We'll take care of the roads for the citizens. We don't have enough money to do it all. So the state's been very generous in allowing $10 million for matched funds. The county said, look, we'll go in. A number we used was, if the state provided 50% of the total and the county provided 25%, can we get 25% from private contributions? That should be a doable thing, and so that's what we're working towards. The objective was to be able to have the monies, have the commitments, and start the construction before construction on 285 begins, which we think is going to be Q3 of 2020. So that's the construction window. We think it's achievable. We have a plan, we have designs, or we have road sections that we can build to. So a lot of effort going on in that space. The capital outlay, I think we garnered additional monies for both relief routes, and we want to get moving on the south east portion, so that, again, people begin to see the impact. They begin to see, hey, action's being taken. We're moving dirt. We're taking care. And then on the southwest side, that we're the county and the city are back in action to try and get the plans developed for that, get the route nailed down, and so there's a lot of traction there. The additional monies for that will really help. So again, as Jerry Fanning said, some positive outcomes from all of your efforts and the legislative efforts of our representation from Southeast New Mexico gave some dividends. I did get a comment from Representative Brown, the challenge coins that we provided. A lot of talk about those, so really positive outcome from that. She said she used that in several of her committee discussions, help us help you, and use the coin, and it stuck with them. We may have created a craving, if you like. Other counties may follow us with having challenge coins provided up there, but she said there was a lot of discussion and talk about having those in hand up there. So that was a positive outcome. I believe we'll get the commitment on the matches. It's going to take some. We're going to have to go to Midland and some places to sit with the right people to help them have the same level of fluency that we do about that road commitment. So more to come on that in the coming weeks. Getting this legislative session wrap up, distributed to the customers for Mr. Fanning, and then looking forward and continuing the momentum of visibility and presence with the legislation. So interim committees, LFC, all those, we've got to be front and center at all of those. Several of you have made that comment in the past. I think we're set up to have that presence and have some of that success. So we'll continue in that vein in the coming months in preparation for a year from now when the whole madness begins again. So I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them the best I can.
Okay, moving on to commissioners. Commissioner Crockett?
Al and I have been really busy the last 2 weeks. I think we've had at least 6 breakfasts and lunches and all kinds of things in between, but lots of good stuff going on. Everything from healthcare to Representative Brown yesterday at lunch gave a brief update on some things, and I just wanted to mention, I know Jennifer isn't here and I know Mr. County Manager will take care of it, but Representative Brown is pretty concerned about the coronavirus and the efforts that the city and the county are doing, so we probably need to loop her into some of those discussions.
She's very involved, very engaged, and has been working with Carlsbad Lopez Fire Department, the WIP Fire Chief, and working with Artesia, Brendan
Harvey.
Yep, Mr. Harvey. And getting updates, and she's had a lot of interaction with the state health office. I'm on a conference call this afternoon with the state health office with some updates, and we'll talk some about that.
Excellent. I want to thank Brian. He's spent some of his time lately helping us with Main Street, and I just want to say thank you. We appreciate that. And I want to thank Wes and Steve for huge help. Senator Fulfer called me, and Malaga Water Board had a document that needed to be signed that was kind of holding up a very large road project in the Malaga area, and Steve and Wes were very instrumental in getting that taken care of. And I want to pass along Senator Fulfer's thanks to both of you as well. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner McCutcheon?
I have nothing.
You have nothing
to say.
Commissioner Woods? Just a couple of things. I want to thank Steve for checking into a residential quail. This guy has driven me crazy for the last 2 years. And it seemed like to get their phone number and they just call and call and call. But he did go out there, and then, he took care of the problem, and I was able to call the guy back and say, you can do this and that. And I haven't had a call since, so that's a relief in itself. End of this month, there is a, NMC's putting on a legislative meeting. What day is that?
It is April 22nd, I think, in Roswell.
Is it April or March?
Let me check. I'll confirm. I believe it's April 22nd. Let me firm that up here.
The date sounds right. But anyway, it's where all the legislators will meet and discuss what happened during the legislature. And if you've never been to one, it's an eye-opening experience. You know, you can talk to one and you get a flavor, but these guys, you know, they one by one they discuss each piece of legislation that was good or bad, and it's a really interesting. I know that the clerk and the treasurer and their folks all show up, but if you get a chance to attend, be sure and make it.
You were right. It is the end of March. It's March 26th in Chavez County, and it's at the
Out at the college.
Yeah, at the campus ITC building, common area.
Yeah.
At 10 a.m.
Yeah, and they serve lunch and everything, and it's free if you're a member of the NMC. And another thing I want to note, you spoke of Brendan Harvey a while ago. In Las Cruces last week, he got recognized as the state fire investigator of the year. Nice, big, large trophy. So there's some good work going on at the fire department up there, and I commend them for the work that they do.
Commissioner Henry?
I've just got quick things. I think I don't know if I do it enough or if I did it last time, but I want to express my appreciation to how smooth everything is running lately. I don't think I can reiterate it enough. The change has been massive, especially noted in the Artesia area of if someone has a problem. I called Wes a couple weeks ago and said, hey, someone called, said there's dumping septic. We were on it, and those folks noticed it. You know, roads, you're on it. I had someone compliment the clerk's office the other day. I mean, everything that people are interacting with, it's just getting done. They're not having to deal with issues. They're not having to jump through hoops. And I think people are very, very appreciative of it, and that's a reflection of y'all. I mean, y'all are, rather than, and I don't want to say it wrong, but I think sometimes so many people say no, but I think now what we're really saying is let us figure it out. And that speaks volumes to people, because when you're just told no, it kind of is abrupt, but we can't do it that way, but let's figure this out. Even the DMV the other day, I was in there getting my daughter's deal, and I guess we all got to get new licenses. I didn't know that, but whatever. But they were super helpful on, well, here's what you do, and I mean, just every interaction is great, and that is 100%, I don't think, expressed enough, and to the department heads, to elected officials, to everyone else, even, I mean, people are excited. They're not getting arrested. Those people aren't excited, but they are excited about the sheriff's office arresting people. You know, everything is smooth, and it's fantastic, and please keep up the good work, and please keep that attitude of, okay, we might not be able to do it this way, but let's figure it out. And that's how we make great things happen. So that's really good. One of the big concerns Artesia has right now, we were talking with some of the volunteer fire department, and I know they're very aware of it. Obviously, Artesia is very, very short in fire department as well as police. So it's a huge concern in the Artesia area. I know it's a bigger burden on the county, but I know talking with those chiefs, they were aware of it and had already come up with some things, so I appreciate that. Hopefully we'll get that worked out. There was something else, I forgot what it was. Obviously, state basketball tournament starting. Did Carlsbad make it? I really don't know that answer.
I don't know. I really don't.
I'm not trying to say it to throw it out there. I really don't know that answer. So if they made it, good luck to them. I know Artesia made it. They're a 4 seed. Our first game is next Saturday. We play Gallup in Artesia. So if y'all, Grants, I'm sorry, Grants, yeah, because Gallup's like number 2, right? I'm glad we didn't draw them.
We don't want to play
They're
Gallup,
pretty good, yeah. So we have a big game Saturday at 6. If y'all want to, if anyone's bored and want something to do, it's a lot of fun. Come down, watch our great basketball team hopefully pull off. We're district champs. That's always exciting. We lost the tournament, but we were district champs. So that's good, so. Oh, I know what it was, I'm sorry. But it was a very cool meeting, and y'all probably don't think like it sounds stupid when you first hear about it, but I went to this bird meeting a couple weeks ago. Did I already talk to y'all about this? So they call and say, hey, do you want to come to this bird meeting? I said, well, why would I want to be at a bird meeting? Best meeting I've been to in a long time. So Artesia obviously has a problem with grackles. If y'all drive down, that's why we've cut all our trees back and tried to clean it up. Well, now they've got this lady who has hawks, and these hawks like attack the grackles in the sky and kill them, and it's fantastic. I mean, it is the coolest thing. So if you're a grackle lover, I'm very sorry. Whatever. Yeah, and PETA's like all over this now, right? Never mind PETA. The hawks just, yeah, no, huh?
I want to be there when she does it.
Yeah, no, it's the coolest thing because apparently these grackles are very, very intelligent birds, which I was unaware of that. I knew they were smart birds, but I guess they're very intelligent birds. And so these hawks make them rethink where they want to hang out because they're flying around and do their thing and kind of push the birds somewhere else. And it's a really cool deal. So if PETA's listening, they don't kill them. It's just they direct them in a different direction very abruptly.
Yeah, so, right?
Yes, exactly.
In a different area.
Yes. They arrest a few of them and detain them, and the rest decide to go somewhere else. So it really was a great meeting, but I thought, man, what a fantastic idea to start solving some of these problems because it's gross. Yeah, I mean, the amount of stuff they got to clean on the streets, to me, it's a health hazard. So we're either worried about birds or worried about the birds or people, and I'm more concerned about people. So yeah, really cool meeting. I had no idea how important hawks and owls were, but if y'all have a hawk and owl hanging around your house, I mean, do whatever you got to do to keep them because apparently they do some pretty cool stuff. So great meeting. Had a lot of fun.
Good. Okay, I don't have anything today. So, I know.
Wow.
I know.
Right there.
I'm being good because I want to move into this executive section.
All right.
Okay, moving on. Do we need a motion to move into executive session? Can I have one of those?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion that the board goes into executive session in accordance with the State of New Mexico Open Meetings Act, Section 10-15-1-H, 2, and 7, which authorizes the Board of County Commissioners to go into executive session to discuss threatened or pain litigation and limited personnel matters.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Wood.
Yes.
Crockett.
Yes.
McCutcheon.
Yes.
Carlson.
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go into executive session 45 minutes?
Yeah, we won't need that long.
Okay, 30 minutes.
There you go.
30 minutes. We will reopen at 27 after.
On the elections today,
23 after.
there's nothing on Artesia except for
27 after.